Able to say I don't want to get too much sun on the camera lens in Ireland. Now, when I last spoke to you in 2020, in July, that was the 70th year anniversary, but you'd already, 30 years before that, you started in Greystones in the Latouche.
That's
We're
right.
celebrating 10 years now in the Beach House.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you wouldn't have had any idea,
No,
you know what, this thing was going to run and run.
None whatsoever, Paul, no. May I add, if I may, please, my personal thanks to the management and staff of the Beach House. That's Terry, Cullen, and his cohort, Jordan, and all the boys and girls who work on the floor.
Well, to them, I'm sure it's a wonderful thing, as any town would appreciate, having anything that lasts around this day and age, where we all get distracted by our phones and by the latest thing and the latest TV series. To have something that's traditional, that not only kind of, you know, is I'd say old school, but there's a whole new generation have embraced it too. So that's got to be a lovely feeling that it's...
Also, I'd like to thank the fan club, Moya, who have stuck by me for the last 10 years.
Nice, nice.
In the Beach House. I'd like to thank them, each and every one of them, for coming every Wednesday.
So does it feel surprising to you, especially after with COVID knocking everybody off their feet? Is it a surprise to you that there's still that pull and still that love for it out there?
Well, to be honest, I've been in the Beach House 11 years. But
all right,
COVID interrupted the scene,
right?
So I put it down to 10 years.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, well, active
but
service.
It's still as active as ever. I'm amazed still at the kids coming in to do bingo.
Yeah.
Used to be an L1 sport, you know.
But you've always had, and I mentioned there from the previous interview, I know that you're Singapore, you were born at 16, you moved to London to your dad's native city, and you kind of got into the showbiz thing pretty quickly.
I did. That
was, I'm guessing, something that was just, you know, in your blood. Was it from the family that you had this want to entertain, to sing, to be part of that world?
Parents were musical, yeah.
Okay.
There was always music in the house. Always.
Right.
While either Dad was listening to Bing Crosby, Perry Como, as it was in them days. You know, and then all of a sudden Elvis came along and I fell in love with the guy, you know.
I think just about every man, woman and child was changed by Elvis. There is that sort of feeling that just the world shifted slightly some way. He never was going to be the same after his impact.
True, very true.
So for you, though, very, very close to the flame of that kind of success, because... And I don't want to bring up old wounds, but, you know, Telstar, you could have had Telstar, you could have had Show Me the Way to Amarillo, 2 million seller. So you were in that world very much. Like, it wasn't like you just knew people. You were part of that world.
Yeah.
Right. Does that ever kind of...
This was all pre-Beatle era, you know?
Yeah. But when either of those songs come on the radio, have you ever kicked a radio across the room?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially Amarillo. Oh, my God.
You could have been with Peter Kay, too, a few years ago.
Yeah, and at the time it was a brand new song written by Neil Sedaka. Everyone forgets that Neil Sedaka wrote that song.
Yeah, he's a great songwriter, yeah.
Oh, he's one of my favourites.
Well, Love Will Keep Us Together, Captain and Sneal, and loads of songs.
Hungry Years, you know, Breaking Up Is Hard to Do.
Top Guy, yeah. Well, himself and the whole Brill Building guys, the Carol Kings and all that, and Neil Diamond, they all made their leap to singing later on, but that idea that they were, before the Beatles came along, that was very traditional, that there was a house of songwriters, you know, whether it be Motown or whoever, and they wrote some beautiful songs.
Neil Diamond wrote I'm a Believer.
Yeah.
For the Monkees.
Sure.
You know?
Oh, yeah. But from your own point of view, that feeling of being an entertainer, it's something that you haven't lost, obviously. It's something that you like, sort of being part of a happy night and sort of helping that night.
So I'm still in it in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying it. That's the important thing.
Right.
That's half the battle.
Do you find the social scene in Greystones, given that they say it's 27,000 if you count, you know, the whole district of Kilcool and Greystones and all that, it's actually quieter at night than it would have been when I was growing up, because there was a different way of living. People didn't have huge tellies, they didn't have their phones to look at all the time. There's a huge amount of home distractions and other distractions now, but that's why it's sort of almost like an oasis to see your night still happening and still bringing in the numbers.
It's amazing. I'm still amazed.
Yeah.
You know, so...
But have you noticed a change?
Lucky.
Have you sort of noticed a change in the way people live? Has that sort of worried you, or have you kind of seen it on the periphery?
I don't think about it. I don't think about it. I really honestly don't think about it.
Okay.
You know, everyone does their own thing, and that's it, you know.
There is a culture now around bingo as well to go a little bit crazy. I think there's, you know, Bingo Loco. A friend of mine, Adam Burke, does it. They have huge festival tents and they get thousands of kids in, and it's all lights and colours and silliness and all that kind of stuff. So it is fantastic that a simple game just keeps on hitting that nerve.
It's not rocket science, you know. And yet occasionally you get the odd one who says, "How do you play this game?"
Oh, you get the odd spacer even if it isn't rocket science.
Well.
So the beach house then itself must feel, as much as you were in the Latouche for a long time, but the beach house at this point must feel like a proper second home. It must feel like...
It is. And once again, I'd like to thank management and staff.
Right. You're looking for free chips, aren't you? I can tell you're edging towards something there. But does that sort of, I don't know whether it's always been that way, whether you ever kind of had rough years, so to speak, because it's a happy gig that you do, so I'm presuming it's generally happy, but every entertainer can kind of go through a patch where they're not quite sure.
I've had my bad days and bad weeks, you know.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course, yeah, especially when the disco era hit. Live bands went out the window.
Right.
You know, so you had to adjust. So be it. But you get through it, and I did. And I had to travel to the States, the continent, and what have you. And I survived.
Right.
Yeah, I am a survivor.
And the singing, would you still indulge? I'm sure at home maybe, but have you ever been tempted to step out?
Well, the way I look at it now, Paul, to be honest, the stuff I did then, would it still appeal to the kids of today?
Well, I think certainly there's
a special market,
timeless
the Michael
songs.
Bublé market.
Yeah. Well, there's an age group too that would just know these songs without even thinking about it. And you know, you don't always have to appeal to the 20-year-old. You can still find a very appreciative audience. You know, you've got Neil Diamond tributes and all people like that just touring constantly. So there's always an audience for classic songwriting. We'll say great songs and.
There's some great entertainers through the years, you know.
I know we have our own Elvis here in Greystones and
Alan.
Yeah, he'd be a bit more jazzed than rock and roll when it comes to his remembrance of lyrics and how a melody should be and all that. But his love for it and his passion for it, which is 90% of a great performance, is that if somebody believes and they love what they're doing, it'll kind of come across with the energy and the kick of it. But maybe you could give him some singing lessons as to where the line starts in relation to the four bar.
I've no illusions. I've no illusions about myself, believe me.
So I suppose finally, I mean, just to say to people, you're there every Wednesday. It is pretty much one of the longest running, if not the longest running tradition in Greystones for a night out.
Now, yeah. And to think it started way back, you know, in the Latouche.
Yes. 33 years, 34 years, I don't know exactly when, but that's decades upon decades of just
I am
together.
that soldier.
Yeah. But it's still a kick for you, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Right.
And I'd like to thank my fellow cohort on the stage with me, Aaron.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah,
he
does it with me on a Wednesday night.
Oh, there's a Mossy in the mix,
Mossy does it too when Aaron can't do it.
Right.
So I'd like to thank them while I'm on camera.
And claims about the game being rigged?
No, it doesn't happen.
Okay.